Hey, I'm Chris. I'm a leader at The Rising, and back in year 7 I started coming along to a youth group called Spin because someone invited me along. But it wasn't until year 9 that I really got this sort of concept and the whole idea about God, and that God really loves me. So I heard this African man called Stephen Longu giving his testimony, and he was a bit of a he murdered some people. And he was a leader of a gang, and then one day God just found him and just stopped him in his tracks. And so when I heard his testimony, I realized that, hey, God can love this man, and therefore he can love me, just this year 9 kid living up on the North Shore. So that's when I first committed my life to Christ. And some things changed. At school, me and my friend who'd also become a Christian on that night, we made a pact that we'd stop swearing. So every time we swore, we'd punch each other really hard, and that sort of got us out of the habit of swearing. And people at school noticed that as well, that we were a little bit different, that we didn't swear. And so that was kind of the rest of my schooling life. And later on, when my friends got into drinking at parties and stuff, I sort of stayed away from that as well, and they noticed that. I remember one night my drunk friend just goes, "Chris, you're the life of the party." I'm like, "Yeah, oh cool, I can do that without drinking." So that was all good. And then sort of into my uni years, I went to Canada, and I had left my church and I was all alone in Canada as a Christian. And then I started to slip up, make more mistakes, and sort of stopped reading my Bible, and I stopped praying. And then I just got caught up in the whole ski resort scene that was over there, which was just party every night. And so I started drinking quite excessively, and that led to little bits of drug use as well. And so my life was taking a bit of a downward spiral, and I was quite far from God. And then one morning, I was working as a lift operator there. I was at the top of the mountain, and there was this sea of clouds in the mountain below, in the valley below me. And there was just a couple of peaks sticking out of this sea of clouds, and the sun was just rising as well. And at that moment there, I knew that it was like God's presence all around me. And I just felt like an overwhelming amount of love for me. Despite all the wrong things I'd been doing, God was still calling me back. So I learned from that experience that God will never stop loving you. He'll never stop hunting you down, even if you stop loving him. And yeah, so that morning I sort of did like a 180 on my snowboard, but also in my real life. And yeah, I kind of tried to change from that point on as well. And my friends there also kind of noticed that I was drinking less. And yeah, that's my testimony.